Now when evening came, his disciples went down to the lake, got, got into a boat, and started to cross the lake to Capernaum. It had already become dark, and Jesus had not yet come to them. By now, a strong wind and blowing, and the sea was getting through. Then, when they had rowed about 3 or 4 miles, they caught sight of Jesus walking on the lake, approaching the boat, and they were frightened. But he said to them, "It is I, do not be afraid." Then they wanted to make him into the boat, and immediately the boat came to the land where when they had been hiding. The next day, the crowd that remained on the other side of the lake realized that only one small boat had been three, and that Jesus had not boarded it, it with his disciple, but that his disciple had gone away alone. But come boats from Tiberias came to shore near the place where they had eaten the bread after the Lord had given thanks. So when the crowd realized that neither Jesus nor his disciple were there, they got into the boats and came to Capernaum looking for Jesus. When they found him on the other side of the lake, they said to him, "Rabbi, when did you get here?" Jesus replied, "I tell you, the Solomon, truth you are looking for me, not because you saw miracle signs, but because you ate all the loaves of bread you wanted. Do not work for the food that disappears, but for the food that remains to eternal life, the food which the Son of Man will give to you, for God the Father has put his seal of approval on him." So then they said to him, "What must we do to accomplish the deeds God requires?" Jesus replied, "This is the deed God requires, to believe in the whom he sent." So they said to him, "Then what miracle sign will you perform, so that we may see it and believe you? What will you do?" "Our ancestor ate the manna in the wilderness. Just it is written, He gave them bread from heaven to eat." Then Jesus told them, "I tell you the Solomon truth. It is not Moses who has given you the bread from the heaven, but the Father. But my Father is given you the true bread from heaven. From the bir- for the bird bread of God is the one who comes down from heaven and gives life to the world." So they said to him, "Sir, give us this bread all the time." Jesus said to him, "I am the bread of life. The one who comes to me will never go hungry, and the one who believes in me will never be thirsty. But I told you that you have seen me and still do not believe. Everyone whom the Father gives me will come to me, and the one who comes to me I will never send away. For I have come down from heaven not to do my own will, but the will of the one who sent me. Now this is the will of the one who sent me, that I should not lose one person of everyone he has given me, but raise them all up at the last day. For this is the will of my Father for everyone who looks on the Son and believes him into have eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day." Then the Jews who were hostile Jesus began complaining about him because he said, I am the bread that came down from heaven. And they said, isn't this is Jesus, the son of Joseph, whose father and mother we know? How can he now say, I have come down from heaven? Jesus replied, do not complain about me to one another. No one can come to me unless the Father who sent me draws him, and I will raise him up at the last day. It is written in the prophets, and they will all be taught by God. Everyone who hears and learns from the Father comes to me. Not that anyone has seen the Father except the one who is from God. He has seen the Father. I tell you the solemn truth, the one who believes has eternal life. I am the bread of the life. Who ensures us at the manna in the wilderness and they die. This is the bread that has come down from heaven, so that a person may eat from it and not die. I am the living bread that came down from heaven. If anyone eats from this bread, he will live forever. The bread that I will give for the life of the world in my flesh. Then the Jews who were hostile to Jesus began to argue with one another. How can this man give us his flesh to eat? Jesus said to them, I tell you the solemn truth, unless you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you have no life in yourselves. The one who eats my flesh and drinks my blood has eternal life, and I will raise him up on the last day. For my flesh is true food, and my blood is true drink. The one who eats my flesh and drink my blood abides in me, and I in him, just as the living Father sent me, and I live because of the Father. So the one who consumes me will live because of me. This is the bread that came down from heaven. It is not like the bread you ancestors ate, but the latter die. The one who eats this bread will live forever.